So as a last topic, we are moving into this topic, manipulation of strings using operators. So we have seen the cases of operator overloading with numerical data. We have operated unary operator overloading where you had a single operand being worked upon. We saw all those examples of decrement and increment and postfix, pre-decrement, postfix and prefix decrement, and as well as increment, and all those kind of examples. And at the later point of time, we saw an example of operating over binary operator overloading, and where we had seen an example of adding two complex numbers. And right now, we are going to see a program where we are going to manipulate strings using operators. So basically, we are dealing with an operation called concatenation, where we are adding two strings to make it into a single one. So the plus symbol, like adding two integers, it gives you a resultant number. 2 plus 5 gives 7. And here the plus sign, when it is being used with strings, it gives you an entirely different result. So we look into a program of that particular type. So we are starting up with this program where we are manipulating the data over here. So basically you can see here that you're having a header file over here, IOStream as usual. Then you have another header file, since we are dealing with strings, string.h is being called, and you're having a class called string. Here you have an array of character data type called str of size 20 over here. Then as usual you have the accept string function, which will be reading in displaying a text in the string, and it will be read into str. You will be displaying a function display underscore string, where you'll be displaying the str content stored. You have the operator overloading function defined over here. So basically, if you look over here, you can see that it's got okay. So we'll look into this notepad since it's the last slide, some display issues. So basically what is happening here is you have an operator function being declared over here. Now what happens here is, if you remember in the previous case of binary operator overloading, not the using the friend one, the previous normal binary operator overloading program, we had an execution which went like this. We had the return type string. So we have the operator being specified, the operator is plus, and you have a single argument being passed, which is x, which means if you need two strings to be added, there should be two arguments actually, but only one is being passed as the argument and other is passed as the one that is calling this function. So you have an object being created over here of data type string called s, and you have a function here, strcat str comma x dot str. Basically what happens here is you're going to concatenate the two texts. For example, if I'm going to enter a text called COVID as the first text and the second text is 2019, the COVID will be available in this uh, in as the one calling this particular function, and 2019 will be passed by this x object. So you are concatenating both of them together, and you are storing it in the array str, and you are copying this content of str array into an this object str array, which is declared over here. So there are basically two functions happening over here. One is the concatenation function and other is the copying function. So let me make it a bit more clear to you. So if you look into this previous program of binary operator overloading, just one second, I'll just pause it. It is a similar program compared to this one. So we have a operator plus complex C, and you can see that you have a complex temp.x was x plus c.x. Now what was this x? This x belonged to the one that was calling the function. So basically it would mean the x of c1, and this c2 is the one that is passed as the argument. So c.x will be referring to the x of c2. So that is a basic concept over here. You're adding these two contents to create a resultant one. So just like that, you have a execution over here. So you have a string x being passed as the argument, and you have another string which will be called, and it will be passed directly in the form of str. So strcat will be if you have two strings over here like str1 and str2, str1 will be accepting the string and it will be basically something like COVID, and str2 will be accessing the string 2019. And basically what will happen is this str will be basically storing, or will be basically having which one, your COVID, and x dot str will be having 2019, and COVID 2019 will be stored in str. I hope it is clear. And this str which contains the uh, COVID 2019 text, it will be passing into the str of this object s which is created over here, and you will be returning this s as shown in the previous case of a binary operator overloading also. So basically what would happen here is when you run this particular program, you have str1, str2, str3. It will be calling the accept string function. Accept string function would mean you'll be displaying the text enter string, and you'll be storing it in str of str1. And similarly str2 str will be storing 2019, and you'll be displaying this thing. And when this function is being executed, that is str3 is equal to str1 plus str2, you're actually calling this function. So str2 will be passed as the argument x over here, and str1 will be available directly. So this str basically refers to the str of str1, and this x dot str is referring to str of str2. Now when you concatenate this text, it will be stored in str1 dot str, and it will be passed to s dot str. Now s is the object created over here, and as the function is supposed to return a string, it will be returned in the form of this small s, which is the object created over here, and it will be passed to str3. So str3's str would contain COVID 2019. So I'll just run this program and show. I'm copying this. We'll be just putting it into the compiler. It's already there. I will be running it. So you get a string like the second one is 2019, and together you can see that the concatenated string is convert 2019. To make things a bit more clear, I have made a small change in this program. What I have done is I have created an additional function over here which is called str1.display.string. My point that I want to verify or to confirm here is that basically I said that you'll be passing these arguments over here, and finally the concatenated string would come in this variable str. That is what I had mentioned before, and this str is the one that belongs to str1. And basically what I've done here is at the end of the program, I've created a particular additional line str1.display.string, which means it should be displaying the str of str1. And basically when you run this particular program, you can see that basically it can have your okay, I'm giving a new text over here, East Africa, and you can see that the first string is East and the second string is Africa. What is displayed here is the str3's str, and what is displayed here is the str1's str. I hope the point is clear, and with this we are winding up this topic, and I hope the topics are clear. In case of doubts, please get back to me via email, or you can ask your doubts when we meet for the next class. Thank you.